Boston Sports Journal. Ime, in that fourth quarter, it seemed like you guys really got caught up in the officiating there, and that's when things started to unravel. Is that what did you see there?
I think there was a little bit of that throughout the game, so not necessarily only in the fourth, but probably something we shouldn't do as much, and we all did too much.
Brian Robb, Mass Live. Offensively, you guys really struggled there for a big chunk of the fourth quarter. I know Jalen and Jason pretty much played that whole second half. Did you feel like fatigue-wise it was kind of showing up there in terms of the kind of offense you guys were creating, or was it something else that you're seeing?
Could have been. We ran them obviously a longer stretch to get back in the game in the third. Looked like our decision-making waned a little bit in the fourth, and could have been from that. We weren't getting a whole lot of production off the bench. Went with them a little bit longer, being that they got us back in it and tried to use the timeouts for their rest. But we got away from a little bit of what got us back in the game in the third, and decision-making and fatigue could be a part of it. The reason why.
Back left. Hi, Coach. Tal from Haaretz newspaper in Israel. You played back-to-back Game 7. Now you're playing a very demanding final series against the Warriors. Do you think this has started to take a toll on your players?
No, I don't think that's the reason at all.
Gary, raise your hand there, please. Thank you.
Gary Washburn, Boston Globe. You made the missed free throws. It seems like you guys are back to where you have no idea how this team's going to perform from night to night. The first quarter, you guys looked like you were sleepwalking. Like, why not that intensity, or why did it only show up for the third quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain that start. I mean, we lacked the physicality early. They took the fight to us a little bit early, and we were struggling to finish in the paint. So that was pretty evident early on. I think the second, 24-23 them. The second we kind of got back into it to get it close enough at halftime, and then obviously had the third quarter, and then the fatigue could have played a part in the fourth. But poor start overall. That's hard to explain that why that is, but we got back in and turnovers and missed free throws and some of the things. Obviously, a little bit of talking to the refs too much probably didn't help us in the fourth. But the start is hard to explain. It was we were guarding well enough. They had 27. I mean, for the most part, they had 19, 17 with a few minutes left, but our offense was stagnant and unaggressive.
Adam, over here.
Steph has obviously been in control of this series. What did you think about the job you guys did on him, and also does it feel like a missed opportunity on the day you finally did slow him down, but it still wasn't enough?
Yeah, better job on him. A little more physical there. Switched up the coverage a little bit, but have to do it on the others. And anytime you got Wiggins with 26, Thompson with 21, Peyton and Poole off the bench 15 and 14, they're kind of making up for some of the things he was doing. So overall, it's a solid job on him. But again, I don't know if it was our defense as much as offensive struggles that hurt us tonight.
On your right, Tim.
You mentioned those offensive struggles. When you guys would get into those stretches where you couldn't get going and you did get stagnant, was that a result of their physicality knocking you out of what you wanted to do, or was it something else that you saw that kept having that happen?
Early in the game, they were the aggressor on defense, kind of blowing up some of our actions, and our spacing wasn't the best due to that. Went a little more off ball and got some movement, got some things going. And once we did start defending better and getting the stops, we got out and ran, obviously. But a little bit of that early, and then, like I said, it could be fatigue in the fourth quarter after expending a lot to come back. And so a lot had to do with them in the fourth start for sure.
And you mentioned a little bit of the chatter with the refs. Did you get called for being out of the box by Mark on that? Is that at least what they explained to you?
Part of it, yes.
And then did something happen there with Tony in the fourth quarter? It seemed like you two had a conversation or something.
Yeah, he didn't like how I pointed at him.
Thank you.
Robert.
By Manning, CLNS Media. Ime, it felt like at one point you guys turned the corner with the ball control, with the decision making as you talk about, and now it just seems like it's kind of popping up again and again. Just from your perspective, is it a matter of needing to call more plays? I know you can only say so much to limit what's going on out there, but just what do you think has gone wrong with the ball control for this group?
Playing in the crowd too much is the cause of a lot of these turnovers. Obviously, Jason Marcus having 4 and Jalen having 5, our primary ball handlers that get caught in some tough spots at times. And so when we're at our best, it's simple ball movement. I think that third quarter showed that. You know, the driving kick was beautiful. It was working, getting guys wide open shots. And then, like I said, I don't know if fatigue affects the decision making a little bit there, or just physically don't have the burst to finish it off. But that has been a problem for us, obviously, at times in this series, in quarters specifically, where we gotten a little stagnant. And so when we do it well, it works and it looks good, and we get shots that we want. We kind of slow it down or play in the crowd, and those turnovers pop up in the bad offense.
On your right, John.
John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal. When you were down 3-2 to Milwaukee, you sat in front of us and you exuded a lot of confidence. Tonight, it seems like you're kind of like searching for answers. How are you feeling going into a game 6 where now your back's against the wall again?
Well, feeling the message to the guys is to be confident going home, get your rest, and then let's get ready to bring it back here. And so for us, it's really about consistency, and that's the thing we're not having throughout a full game is a consistent effort, sustained effort, more so offensively than anything. And so that's the part where we got to have carryover from quarter to not only game to game, but even quarter to quarter, like we saw in the third, and then it doesn't happen in the fourth. So obviously, we're all frustrated with tonight a little bit, but even prior, quarters and games, and so. Our message is take it one at a time. We've been here before and did it against Milwaukee, and let's bring it back out to the Bay.
We're going to go last 2 here, and then Gary.
Abby Chin, NBC Sports Boston. Ime, what did you see from Jason tonight? I mean, some uncharacteristically bad misses in the free throw line as well.
Yeah, I said part of that could be fatigue. Expended a lot, obviously, in playing 44 minutes. He was one of our main guys rolling, and so when he got it going in the third, we rode him a little bit longer there, and the bench production wasn't as sharp as usual, so we ran Jason longer, and some of that fatigue and decision-making could play a part in the fourth quarter. So, and that probably has something to do with the misses. Not only free throws, but some of his three-pointers being off a little bit.
I'm sorry, I got Gary and then Jared in the back. That'll be it.
Ime, have they found something against you, their defense against your offense? The last couple of games, it seems like you guys have had a hard time scoring. And besides that third quarter when the 3 went down, it just seems like there's nothing easy.
Yeah, they've ramped up the physicality and they're switching quite a bit more. But as you saw in the third quarter, anytime we don't get stagnant and go one against the crowd, it can look pretty easy and get the shots we want. So just have to, like I said, have carryover from game to game. Not only that, but quarter to quarter. And a 35-point third quarter when we're moving the ball, getting into the lane, penetrating kick, and getting the wide open shots we want, we got to have that carryover into the fourth. And to basically only have 14 or so until the young guys came in late, obviously it was a night and day quarter from the third and the fourth. And as I said, we rode them a little longer. Fatigue could play a part in that, whether it's physical or some of the decision making and turnovers there. But kind of went with the high hands that got us back in the game.
Jared, last question.
We've been talking about offensive stagnation and crunch time pretty much throughout the year, and you've always talked about how the players spreading the floor need to have some sort of movement or action to create their own openings. And tonight, whenever somebody will get some way to try to kick out, the defense knows where to be because they're not moving. So why do you think this far into the year we're still having that stagnation issue?
Spacing was the issue with them being physical, especially in the first quarter. They kind of blew up some of our actions, and we were playing basically on top of each other. So what worked well, especially in game 3 at home, was one of our best games of getting spaced out quick to our actions and then penetrating kick. And so, like I said, you got to have carryover game to game, not only game to game, but what we did in the third quarter. And so a little bit, credit to them as far as their physicality on defense. But at this point, we know what works well for us, and we got to have that consistency.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.